Is there anyone else out there on YouTube who sees the comments, the likes, the extra subscribes that you get from other people, and then you look at the analytics section and you're going, wait, what the hell's this? That can't be right. Because, in all honesty, every time I check my analytics and I see things like watch time and audience retention and the demographics and all the things like that, it just doesn't add up. And I'm not saying there are people who, you know what, I'm not even entirely sure what I'm saying to be exact, other than I see comments from people from certain parts of the world that I know for a fact have watched me for months, and they say, great video, you did a good job, and I say thank you. And I return the favor, I watch their stuff, I like it, I comment on it, and I'm always happy to. Then I look at the analytics and I see things like, well, people from this side of the world watched it for like this amount of time, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. How's that even possible? That's less than like, that's not even 30 seconds. So I'm not entirely sure what to think about it right now. The only question I can ask is that, are there any YouTubers out there who feel like the people who are watching you on a daily basis, or the people who are acquiring data for you, are just pulling your leg? And the other question that's just come up to my mind right now is that all of the YouTube certified experts, people like Tom Nash or Brian Dean or Tim Schmoyer or other people like that, are these tips really that effective? Because as far as I know, I've done so many of these tips and they really haven't changed anything. Like, the hook and the promise within 8 seconds. I've done that numerous times, not always consistently, I'll give it that, but in the times that I have, it is true, some of them have led to higher viewers, but the audience retention and watch time is still the equivalent to any other video that I would have, whether I tried it or not. And when it comes to stuff like putting up a title sequence beforehand or changing the camera angle every few seconds, how necessary are these things? Because when I first heard that technique about how the human's average attention span is like 8 seconds and is getting shorter, I find that really hard to believe. Like, I'm sure there are statistics that prove that, but I don't think the solutions that we're using are really all that effective. Because recently I've started using different changes in angles and shot sizes, and I'm happy I did it. I'm glad that I get to experiment a little bit more and be creative, but in regards to gaining new followers and meeting new people, it's really accomplished nothing. When I first heard that technique about like changing the shot size every 5 seconds just so you don't lose people, it felt insulting. I, to this day, am still not sure if using that technique is a good idea or if I'm just going to lose people because they don't have any faith in me. Because I'm honestly afraid of the fact that using that technique shows that I don't respect my audience and think that I can't hold a video on my own. I'd like to think that I am, but there is a good possibility that I could be wrong on that. I'm not entirely sure. I usually get good compliments from people. I've gotten bad ones from people who were either biased or, yeah, just commented on the quality and said they didn't like it. And that's fine, they were entitled to it. But I have to ask, how effective are these techniques? Because the most that I hear from people like Schmoyer or I forget some of the other people's names, because honestly, a couple of them are pretty forgettable because they use the exact same methods. It's just like the first thing and foremost thing, you need to have quality content. No shit, you need quality content. You think we don't know that at this point? I'm really sick of that being like the very first thing you have to point out. We know that. That's why we're coming to you, to make sure that the quality we're doing is as good as it possibly can be. So at this point, I am rambling, and I don't have, like, one specific point that I want to address. This is just something that's been on my mind for a really long time, and I'm kind of wondering if anyone else feels the exact same way. Because a lot of the advice people give does feel contradictory. Like, recently, Tom Nash put out a video saying that you need to be animated, change your expressions, move around a little bit more, and I agree with all those things. But then he says, be yourself. That's like the next thing that he says. And then I'm just sitting there wondering, well, what if we're not animated people and we want to just express it the way we would express it to anyone else on the street? It doesn't mean you have to be animated about it. It just means that you have to be really good at talking about it. And besides, even if you are animated, for example, as a movie reviewer, if I'm animated about a movie that I love or that I hate, regardless of how you do, you're going to get complaints from people who are saying you are overhyping it or you're making too big of a deal out of it. So there is obviously always going to be a drawback to whatever techniques you use, but it's never really the focus. People always just assume, hey, if you do this one thing, it's going to work. No, it's not guaranteed. And I wish these YouTube certified experts, and I'm sure they are, went a little more in depth into stuff like that. I understand that the shorter of an explanation, the more likely people are to follow, but maybe that's just it. Maybe people just want an easy way out for something like this. At this point, I can't really think of anything else that I have to say. All I can repeat is, are there any other people who feel that way about the numerous things that I've just talked about in this video? Because I am legitimately curious. And if you are or aren't, either way, be sure to let me know in the comments below, because I would really love to hear your thoughts on stuff like this. So thank you, at the very least, for making it all the way through. And if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell that is completely useless, because if you're subscribed, you obviously give a shit, at least in some capacity. If you need to ring a bell to say, hey, I'm 100% in, the hell's the point? Okay, apparently I did have more to say there, but, you know, what can you do? Either way, thank you guys for watching. I'm wondering if anyone likes to see me angry more often, because if you are, again, let me know. I may work on that in the future. So, thank you for the last time, and take care.